Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across from me is the Doctor himself.
Hello.
Each week, we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you.
That's right.
I really want to work on my depth of my voice.
Yeah, sure.
I want to start doing the recording like this. I started listening to the Smartless podcast.
Oh, Smartless?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know that one.
It's hosted by Jason Bateman. What's his name? The fucking magician from Arrested Development.
Will Arnett?
Will Arnett and Jack from Just Jack. What's that fucking from the show about the redhead girl and the two gay guys.
From Will and Grace.
Yeah, Will and Grace.
Yeah. The actor's name.
Yeah.
Yes.
But those are the three hosts of the show.
Oh, very different voices but they're super close, but they have incredible guests, and their whole thing is that each one of them every week, one of them gets to choose a guest, but the other two don't know who it's going to be. Right.
And so then they just surprise them, and they have to figure out questions for this guest.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, but they're always gigantic celebrities. They just had Paul McCartney on this week.
Oh, Jesus.
David Chang the previous week. It's
oh man,
Conan O'Brien's been on.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's actually a really good podcast.
But listening to Will Arnett now, you're
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah,
I'm an ideas man, Michael.
Yeah, it's especially hearing him on some really good microphones.
Yes, of course.
I know what kind of mics they use too.
I bet you do.
It's the ones we're getting.
Are we going to get the guests they get too?
I think that comes with the mics. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, people find out the mics you have, and that's how you get guests.
Yeah, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah, that's the way that I've been running this whole podcast. Better sound equipment, better guests. That's the promise I was given. From the guy who sold me that equipment.
Yeah, from that gypsy selling podcast equipment under that bridge.
Yeah, it was podcast equipment and beans. Those were the two things it sold.
Yeah. I spurned the sound of their voice, and they cursed me to never quite get the mics I needed.
Oh, God. It's a sickness. We have a review.
Right on.
A 5-star review, number 96, on Instagram.
Hell yeah.
On Instagram.
I think it was that this was just such a lovely message/comment. I had to count it as a review.
It's formatted like a review. That's why
it is full on formatted like a review. I don't feel bad about counting this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Instagram, where's your review feature?
Seriously.
I've got a business account.
Yeah. The hell?
You keep reminding me when I keep trying to use different accounts to post to Facebook. I have to keep fucking switching the thing.
Ugh. Comes from Evan, wait for it, Reed.
What?
That's what his name.
What am I waiting for?
I don't know. It's Evan, wait for it, Reed.
Or it's Evan, wait for it, Reed.
Oh. Evan, wait for it, Reed.
Or that's the letter I send him to thank him for this review. It's like, Evan, wait for it, Reed. It's signed, Reed.
All right. Evan, dearest Evan, shall you wait for it?
Wait another fortnight for it.
Reed.
Sincerely yours.
Reed. What they actually say is, this is the greatest podcast for the subject of DC. It is not the greatest.
Had to throw the qualifier.
Yeah.
There.
It's not the greatest podcast for laundry detergent recommendations, but it is for.
I would straight up listen to an episode of that podcast just to try it out.
Well, yeah. How could this be a podcast? But also, how could be a podcast?
It'd be the Tide Pod Pod. Oh my!
Well,
God.
now we're forced the Tide Podcast.
The Tide Pod Podcast.
You have to do it now.
Fuck.
Nope, still not edible. Episode 123. They go on to say, they joke around just like they do in the comics. What are the comics you're reading?
Yeah, what comics are you reading that say cuck this much?
That's the kind of comic I want to get into.
Those Republican comics we were talking about last week.
That's right. The Doctor has a vast knowledge of the DC universe and is super funny.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Go on.
Please buy my shoes at this link. Jordan.
No,
Michael
just because
Ayers.
he said something nice about me does not mean he's a bot.
Let's see.
All right.
While co-host Richard comes in with very funny and inappropriate jokes. Now I know this isn't true. When have I ever done anything like that?
I was going to say that. I think that proves it's not a bot and that they've listened to the show.
Both have very good impressions. Well, this is falling apart as I'm speaking. Just listen to their Alfred Pennyworth, because that's what a penny's worth.
Do you realize that joke is like 2 years old now?
What?
That episode, it's Double Dose number 2.
Yeah.
Way back in our Patreon catalog.
Whoa.
That was in January 2 years ago.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't feel good.
I know, right?
How has that been that long?
I know.
Wow. It's almost.
But we have fresher characters, newer characters.
Yeah. Like.
Wait, I want to see what you do. Like who?
Like
who's a fresher character?
Well, all you have to do is go into my swamp.
Fuck, you beat me to it. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, we've been doing this podcast so long that I've now got a new child named Dean.
And I know that because
of my hair, the way that it's gray.
Name is stitched into his overalls.
Well, yeah, how else do you define a child?
And yeah, also your hair is baby powdered gray.
Let me just grab my laptop one last time. I'm just gonna protrude my. Ooh, this is me being old.
Oh man, spoilers ahead. We've seen the Supernatural finale.
Oh yeah, we sure did. Just wait till you listen to that podcast episode.
Thank you very much, Evan. Wait for it, Reed, for the lovely review.
You know what? I think that is. Wait for it. Great.
Nice.
Who knows where I was gonna say?
Yeah, I mean that could have. You know what? We're not gonna delve into it. We're just gonna
read. Wait for it, Evan.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
What?
I am the one thing in life I can control.
Oh. Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was Aaron Burr, sir.
Can't. Now you're in it. ALEXHA.
Oh. We are meant to be a colony that runs independently. Britain keeps shitting on us endlessly. Essentially, they tax us relentlessly. And King George turns around and runs a spend.
How many times have you listened to that?
Every day. It's that song,
Yeah.
I still can't do it all. And it drives me nuts. It's like when my wife and I were trying to learn Lose Yourself. It's like, we're going to get this. And like, we put it on in the car on the way to work one day. And then she wanted to just have a conversation with me. And I kept saying like, stop. And then I would like start the song over. And I was like,
something.
I'm trying to learn this song. Yeah.
God, what a lucky lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've got some news. Oh, yeah. First piece of news. The Justice League, the Snyder Cut, will only have 4 minutes of new footage.
What?
Yes.
Sorry, it's 4 hours long.
Yep.
They're bringing in all of these people for new/additional shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And that will total 4 minutes?
$70 million.
That can't be right.
It's absolutely correct.
Where's this news from? I don't normally make you cite sources,
I know.
But that's just so outrageous that I need more info.
I mean, it's coming from DC Comics News, and what they said was Snyder was a guest on Beyond the Trailer and said that there really isn't much extra to film for his 4-hour cut of Justice League. And he's quoted as saying, "I will say that in the end, it's probably going to be about 4 or 5 minutes of additional photography for the entire movie." Snyder said, "In the 4 hours that is Justice League, maybe 4 minutes." Yep.
Okay. So.
Yep.
Let's assume that is true.
Okay.
Where the fuck is this money going?
That's a very good question.
Is this like fucking Montreal construction or something? Like, where the fuck is all this money going?
I have no idea.
But that's if that is true, that's a fucking crime.
I know.
That is not what anyone signed up for, because they set what the budget was, $30 million, and we were like, fine, I guess that pays for the VFX and scoring and all that kind of stuff. Like, fine, we get it. And then they were like, there's going to be some reshoots. We're like, fine. And then they were like, it's going to be $70 million. And you're like, that's a lot. And then they were like, Deathstroke's going to be in it. And Joker. And blah, blah, blah. And they were like, Joker wasn't even in it before. And you go like, okay, well, I guess they're fleshing it out. And now he's saying, it's only so here's the two scenarios. Which is either, one, he's telling the truth. It's only like 5 extra or so minutes of footage that will make it into the film. And he is fleecing Warner Bros.
I mean, that would be amazing. But also, why say it out
Or it's
loud?
scenario number 2, which is he recognizes that people recognize that his movie was not as done as he had claimed. And he is now on the defensive, trying to make it sound like more of what we will see was already in the can than is true.
My guess is that if this is the truth, then what had likely happened is that he is literally redoing all of the VFX. Like, literally...
they must be starting from
like, just wiping it all aside. Because, I mean, we've already seen that, like, Darkseid's completely different. Like,
does that... I mean, I guess I just don't know what things cost, but like, is that $70 million?
Like, VFX
I know you got to pay those
expensive.
actors to get back in the room. You got to pay the costume people, the makeup people. There's probably COVID precautions and stuff now that they're dealing with that maybe increase some costs. Let's give as much benefit of the doubt as we can. That still seems like too much money for a thing that's basically done.
I mean, I know a lot of what his version is a lot of effects-based stuff.
Yeah, totally.
A lot of the movie already was a lot of CGI.
Yes.
So I'm guessing that a lot of that is just getting completely redone. Redone.
For 5 extra minutes, why go through the expense of bringing all these people back in that? It's like, I can't imagine that he finished the movie and then he was like, oh fuck, we didn't do the crucial 5 minutes. Like,
that's what I'm really...
with everyone the first time that we shot it.
That's what I desperately want to know is what, like, the amount of, like, the
because you have to pay all these actors.
It's got to be good.
These actors aren't working for scale.
Yeah.
Jared Leto doesn't go like, $25 an hour, great. Like, like what?
It'll have to be the most.
This is criminal, right? Like,
he's got to bring back Jesus to make 4 minutes that valuable enough to cover that cost. But my guess is that most of that cost is probably going over to the completely redoing all of the, like, visual effects.
This just still seems outrageous.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to see it.
You'll probably love it.
I will probably really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because I liked his other stuff.
Yeah.
But I am so furious at this process and the fact that so much money is being put into a thing that we kind of
already
shouldn't have been getting in the first place.
Yeah, I think that we already got.
It's like, outrage.
That would be like
5 minutes. What the? No, I'm livid. I'm livid.
Yeah,
we could have made another Birds of Prey movie.
Yeah,
that's basically what it cost.
Yeah, 100%. Without a doubt, that's a true fact. So, on to some good news. Wonder Girl TV series with Latina lead from Daylin Rodriguez.
Nice.
And Berlanti Productions in works at the CW.
Yeah, that's right. So, we talked a little bit about, or maybe we haven't actually talked about it that much, but that future state thing that's coming up is sort of a look into possible futures and different things for DC Comics. And one of the things they're introducing is a thing that was set up in Steve Orlando's Wonder Woman run, which is that there's this third tribe of Amazons. So there's the Amazons of Themyscira, there's the Bana Migdal, who forsake the Greek pantheon and are adopted by the Egyptian pantheon, and then there's this tribe of Amazons in the Amazon.
Oh.
And so part of Future State is the new Wonder Woman they're introducing is Yara Flor, a Brazilian Amazonian Amazon.
Whoa.
And so this Wonder Girl series is introducing her as Wonder Girl. And I think DC also said they were going to introduce Yara Flor as Wonder Girl in a comic as well.
Wow.
So this character, here, to show you how excited I am for this character, she's the background of my phone.
Oh, wow.
There's the new Wonder Woman.
Also very attractive, but
that's not why it's on there.
Yeah. That's awesome. Another reason for us to get Steve Orlando back on the show.
Oh, God. So cool. I mean, I don't think Steve Orlando is writing that, but it's totally a thing he set up, which is very, very cool. A lot of these Future State things seem really neat, but the one that I think has really captured people's attention and imagination is this new sort of sect of Amazons, this new whole possibility for the Wonder Woman mythos. We're also going to be getting like Nubia and stuff like that back, returning in that Future State stuff. But this Yara Flor, new like Brazilian Wonder Woman. So
Brazil.
Yeah, Capoeira.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
That's
so yeah, there's a whole TV series coming, which is dope.
That's incredible. That'll be so cool.
Really neat. Yeah,
and really dive into some like lore stuff too. Hopefully.
Yeah, and it's all new territory. We
know nothing.
We can basically just
make up.
We could all just go in and like learn about like where did these Amazons come from? When did they break off? What's their deal? Like what's I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool. DMZ series to be helmed by Ava DuVernay and Roberto Patino.
Right. This is like a Vertigo book or something like that.
I can tell you in a second. I mean, anytime you hear Ava DuVernay and like a comic-based stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to hear her name still in there because it means she's still working in the Warner Bros. Area because we haven't really heard much about how that New Gods supposed movie is going.
Yeah.
I still hope it's happening. It could be, but, we just haven't heard very much about it. But it's cool to keep her involved in things that she's still sort of in the comic book realm, that she's still in like the Warner DC kind of realm of things. I don't really know much about.
Yeah, it is a Vertigo.
I don't really know much about DMZ though, if I'm being honest.
Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, it is a Vertigo book. It's an HBO Max series. DMZ has officially been handed over to Ava DuVernay and Roberto Patino, who will act as executive producers. DuVernay and Patino directed and wrote the pilot of the series. And the basic plot is that DMZ is set in a near future when America is embroiled in a bitter civil war. That seems unlikely.
What could possibly have caused that?
Yeah. Leaving Manhattan a demilitarized zone, or DMZ.
Gotcha.
Destroyed and isolated from the rest of the world, it chronicles the harrowing journey of fearless and fierce medic Alma Ortega, Rosario Dawson,
cool,
to find the son she lost in the evacuation of New York City and on the onset of the conflict.
Neat.
Yeah.
I mean, the concept all sounds good. Am I just misremembering things? Or I thought people were like kind of pissed about Rosario Dawson for some reason.
For this role?
No, like generally.
Oh, like recently?
Well, like as far back as when she was cast as Ahsoka Tano for Mando.
Oh.
I could have sworn there was some reason that people were like, do we really want Rosario Dawson in all of these things? And then it just seems like everyone forgot about it. I mean, Ava DuVernay doesn't seem like a person particularly prone to working with people that would be problematic. But now I have this thing in my head where it's like, I thought there was an issue with Rosario Dawson.
Aren't I supposed to be mad at her? Yeah.
Well, yeah. And now it's like I hear the name and I go like, God,
there's something, right? Yeah.
And it's like, did I dream it? Did I just dream like canceling someone?
Oh my God, that's even scarier. It's like just making decisions now based on like a hunch that I heard something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in this day and age,
I'm sure someone listening can catch me up and tell me whether or not I made it up.
I know. Now we're just going to start accidentally like canceling people on this podcast. Like, did you hear that thing about Tom Hanks?
Yeah. And I mean, we're really the people to be canceling other people.
Yeah. As long as you only listen to the most recent episodes and also don't really listen to those, you're fine. It's fine. Moving on. Huge Batman statue to be unveiled in city of Burbank.
Oh, interesting.
I just kind of thought it was cool.
Is huge Batman like someone from Lithuania that can't pronounce Hugh Jackman's name?
Huge Batman.
Very nice to meet Huge Batman. He's a very famous Wolverine. Okay, so there's a Batman statue in Burbank. Did they say why? Is it like and like is there? I mean, DC offices are in Burbank. I'm assuming that's as much as the connection goes. But was there like? Is it marking a particular occasion?
Today, the world's greatest detective arrived in Burbank, California, in the form of a colossal statue of Batman. Written by these, brought to you by Visit Burbank in partnership with DC. Lee's celebrated design from his 2002 run was imagined 3D form.
Oh, I see. So this is like a tourism thing. Like
yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's just like fucking something to look at from DC.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
seems,
I mean, cool enough.
Yeah, it seems like just like a general.
Yeah, it's it's based on Jim Lee artwork, like you said.
Yeah,
it's not like the Batman, the sort of sorrowful Batman statue from the end of Dark Knight Rises.
Oh no, that would be very funny.
Yeah, they should put up the statue of Arrow from the end of that show.
Oh my god,
they should put that up.
I loved
that. Should be up in Vancouver in Stanley Park.
Well, there you go. Yeah. I liked the RoboCop one that Detroit did.
Yeah.
That was fucking cool. I like that a lot. All right, next. Oh, some more Zack Snyder information.
Oh, good.
New image of Deathstroke.
Oh, no, this just in. Yeah. The movie's unfinished, but you can watch it that way.
New image.
Big briefcase full of fucking money. Skips town.
Yeah, they finally released it, and he goes, "Yeah, they really wouldn't let me do the version I wanted, but
they release it, and it's just the theatrical cut, but with a shot of him in the beginning going like, "Ha ha, suckers!" flipping off the audience.
I mean, that's kind of like that. I mean, now I'm just talking about another podcast, but the PT thing.
Oh yeah. Oh right, yes, the thing.
Hideo Kojima literally is just the whole fucking game. PT is just like a fuck you to Konami.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that's amazing. See, it's not the first time it's been done.
Okay, sorry. What's the Zack Snyder news?
New image of Deathstroke from Zack Snyder's Justice League release.
I mean, I will say that Deathstroke image is fucking dope. It's Joe Manganiello back as Deathstroke, but it's not quite the look that we saw from the end of the theatrical Justice League. He's got like a shaved side of his head. He's got like the white kind of mohawk thing going. A lot of people think that maybe that is like the Nightmare version of Deathstroke, because the whole thing in Snyder's thing was that there's a Nightmare timeline, right?
Yeah.
We saw glimpses of it in Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
It's the timeline where Darkseid wins and Superman succumbs to anti-life or whatever, right? So it's possible that like that's a version of Deathstroke from there because he looks a little bit more battle hardened, or it could just be that it's a cooler design and they're just going with that.
Well, for sure.
But either way, looks dope. I did think Joe Manganiello was a smart casting choice for Deathstroke. I actually really liked that, and that was a thing where it's like I still want to see that. So very, very cool, but apparently he'll be in like 40 seconds of the movie. So.
Well, it's actually an interesting fact. I just read it that was actually a $70 million haircut.
This is like we're witnessing the worst money laundering in history.
Yeah. It's literally like he went out and told them that he didn't do any work and the money's coming through and they're like, wait a minute. That's fucking hilarious. Next piece of news. Oh, I was very excited to hear about this one / kind of depressed. It's a mixed feelings, but Wonder Woman 1984 to be released in theaters and HBO Max this Christmas.
Right. So if you're in the States, this is great because COVID could go on for a while. To keep pushing dates back as if things are going to go back to normal and you're going to make $1 billion at the box office just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plus, they want people to subscribe to HBO Max. So it's a very smart business move between the Justice League and Wonder Woman 1984. Get people over to HBO Max. If you live in a small town with not a lot of cases, or you are convinced that
I live in a small town.
Yeah. If you're like convinced that your cinema has like proper safety protocols and that,
Wonder Woman in a small town.
go check out Wonder Woman in a Small Town. Exactly.
1984.
But it's nice that people don't have to do that. You can stay at home. It's not the Disney Plus thing with Mulan where you would subscribe to HBO Max and then pay an extra fee.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman 1984 will just be there. It's just part of what you're getting with HBO Max.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool. You can stay safe. You can watch this new movie over Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, it's great timing. It's a lot of fun. If you're not in the States, we don't get HBO Max. I'm not going to a cinema. It's not
no. We live in the States. We'll be able to watch it. It's okay.
Oh, right.
We're in the States. We'll be able to watch it online.
But you know what I mean? I'm not going to a cinema. We live in a small town, and even at our small town...
We live in a small town.
A lot of more COVID cases in this small town.
Sucking on a 1984. Outside the taste of freeze.
So, like, I'm not going to go out and risk that to see a movie, even though I've been really looking forward to this movie.
Yeah.
So, the fact that these studios and these streaming services just cannot get their shit together to deal with international distribution is outrageous. I mean, like, listen, I get it. There's 300 million people in the States. Maybe you don't need us, but, like, we kind of need it.
Yeah.
So, like, figure your shit out. We're ready to give you money.
The Hulu thing.
Figure your shit out.
The Hulu thing drives me nuts.
Hulu, HBO Max, even like the streams of like CW Seed or stuff like that, CBS All Access.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of them have some Canadian distributing things, but for example, like for Star Trek, you need to have cable. You need to have real TV.
Yeah, baby.
Who in our...
Me.
I mean, other than you, though, really. You're the only person I know with actual TV.
I know, it rules.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you have to jump through hoops to see some of these things. It's a real pain in the ass. So, I do think it's cool. I think it's a bold move. Someone has to take the first step to take one of these big tentpole movies and be like, we're not going to make all our money back. Or maybe they will, but like, we're not going to make the profit we thought we were going to make.
No.
Put it out this way. It's the right thing to do. This movie needs to be seen. It needs to get out there. So really, really cool to see that. Wish they could get their shit together for Canada and Australia, New Zealand and Europe and Asia and all these other places.
I mean, one of the bigger problems I think with a lot of these is that they're filming new stuff right now. Like, filming has started to happen for other movies.
Yeah, and pre-production on yet.
But the problem
things,
is like, because you're moving forward on those other things, the stuff that needs to go out so that, like, for timeline, they just need to put stuff out so that the next movie can come out and like...
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure it's about like the in-continuity timeline so much. But this movie already takes place in 84.
Yeah, I guess.
It's already its own thing. But I do think you're right in terms of like, we can't just keep holding on to this thing and then release everything. Because like, what if the other things are done in the meantime? It's like, you're going to put out like 6 DC movies over one weekend, like compete with yourself.
Also, you need to stay relevant, like...
And again, it's that HBO Max thing, right? You put this out at Christmas. Hopefully, that's a big draw. You get a lot of people there. Zack Snyder's Justice League is supposed to be, what, like March, April, May, something like that. So you keep people sticking around, hopefully, as many people as possible for a few months that way. You know, like, there's some strategy there, too.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sad that I won't be able to see it in a theater.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the experience of going to the cinema for these big movies and stuff like that. Yes, I am sad that that's not happening. But, like, in no way am I sadder about that than I am about just at least people get to see it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of things that people finally get to see, Batman Earth 1 Volume 3 is finally on its way.
Right. This is the latest installment of that series from Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. It's finally coming out. It's probably been like 7 years since the last volume.
It's crazy.
Like that.
I mean, we were talking about this only like a couple months ago, I think, of being like, they've got so much going on. Like, what are the chances of them continuing that storyline?
Yeah. I mean, I think we knew
especially Jeff Johns.
I think we knew they were working on it, but I was just like, whatever. We'll see it when I'm 40 or something.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Just like, we'll see it at some point.
Yeah.
I have higher hopes for this series than I do for basically anything else that I would say would be Jeff Johns attached coming in the near future.
Fair.
I really liked Doomsday Clock. I thought that was really good. 3 Jokers, not worth the wait.
And you're getting more 3 Jokers. That's coming.
Yeah, apparently there's a fucking sequel to that. No criticism of Jason Fabok, the artist, who kills it on that book. Incredible art. Absolutely crushes it. But like, Jeff Johns is starting to become a visible parody of himself.
Yeah.
In the way that Tarantino is, the way that Wes Anderson is, stuff like that.
Without a doubt.
You know, we used to make fun of it. I didn't really pay it any mind, but it was like, man, this 7 Lantern Corps thing's really worked out. What if there were 7 Cs for Aquaman? What if there were 7 Magic Lands for Shazam? And then it was like, hey, Doomsday Clock worked really well. We're kind of riffing on like the style and aesthetic and narrative structure of Watchmen. It's like, what if we like riffed on Killing Joke for 3 Jokers?
What if there was 7 Jokers?
It's like, it's become like Doomsday Clock benefited from still being a good story. 3 Jokers is just a bad story and not worth it, frankly.
Yeah.
So Batman Earth 1 I have liked.
Yeah.
I still think this one will probably be worth checking out, but like pretty much anything else Jeff Johns announced, I think I'm done.
Yeah.
For now. You know, I'm sure something will come out and people will be like, wow, you really got to check this out. He's back on.
Yeah.
And I'll go, great, and I'll go check it out. But I don't think I'm going to take the leap anymore with him. I think I'm done.
You're going to wait for it. I mean, I get that.
There's things that I love of his, and I kind of want to keep them things that I like.
Yeah.
And leave it at that.
And if you start getting too many bad things, you're just going to be like, oh, maybe he's just wasn't as good as I thought he was.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of,
I get that.
I think I'm at that stage.
I get that.
Yeah.
Final piece of news. Starfire Titans Season 3 costume revealed.
What a look.
Holy shit.
What a look.
Look at that.
Looks great.
Look at that, baby. Oh, yeah.
Awesome looking costume. So that's the concept artwork. They also released the costume tests, like the actual image of what it looks like. Looks great.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. Vibrant purple. We got the green gems.
Yeah.
In there. Incredible look. Anna Diop has been so good as that character so far too in Titans.
Yeah.
Really excited now that Blackfire is coming in, that we're going to get the more alien side of her, right? For the whole first season, she forgot she was an alien. So I'm very, very excited to get that costume in. Maybe we'll see a bit of Tamaran, or we'll get some history of them and that sort of thing. Really, really looking forward to that. But that costume looks dope as hell.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, let's go into this week's theme. It's a Black Lightning episode, Jefferson.
That's right. And you know what? I actually have a little special announcement for this one.
I swear to God, if you make another fucking video.
I did. I was just going to play the old one.
Oh, I was like... I'm like, if you make a fucking video again...
He'd be like, man, you're the only person that asks for cameos. This is going really well.
But also... Like, we just had a conversation about you running your finances. This is another poor decision.
I budget for poor decisions, though.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's a huge, like, wedge in your pie chart.
Yeah.
Poor decisions.
Yeah, I could be paying down more of my mortgage, but then I couldn't make silly decisions.
Hey, you get penalized for that sometimes.
Yeah, it's true, though. It's a Black Lightning episode.
Jesus Christ.
We are doing it. This was decided by our Golden Age Patreon subscribers. They got to pick which member of the Outsiders we were going to focus on.
There's so few good
Black Lightning.
There's so few good like really solid people of color heroes. I'm so frustrated that James Remar fucking ruined one of the really good ones.
I mean, he's so not in the show enough to have ruined it that much.
It was enough for me.
I know it was.
I mean, the costumes are also really brutal too, but
yeah. I think his costume got better, though.
I know, but these are things that happened in afterwards. I don't care if No Man's Sky now is good. I wanted to play it day one.
Wow, still stinging, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. All right, we got a lot of questions.
We got so many questions, and we won't get to all of them.
No,
because there were so many questions.
Who would have known? Yeah, this is Ragman all over again.
Yeah, Black Lightning's back.
Nice. That's good. First question comes from most interesting resident.
Roland Simmons.
I don't like that you have the questions now. I hate that you bring a laptop with you.
I thought I would be more like... It's not like I write my answers. I just have the questions there for me.
I know, but now I can't trick you with things anymore.
Sorry?
Yeah, you should be. This is a problem. Ruins all the fun. Roland Sabos asks, you done gone done it, bruh? Yeah.
Yeah. You done it, bro. Yeah. Careful now.
What? Is this a problem? Yo?
You underwater black lightning.
Yeah. Jefferson. My question is this. Would his electrical powers be as hurtful to Superman as Shazam's? Even if it isn't magic-based, Black Lightning seems to be able to dish out a lot of juice with his powers. Merci beaucoup.
Right. Yeah, so that's kind of that's interesting. Shazam's lightning, yeah, like mentioned in the question, is obviously magically based. It's the power of Zeus.
Yeah.
It's the thunderbolt, right?
Yeah.
And obviously Shazam over time has been way more like electrokinetic than he ever was in his Captain Marvel days. So it's a bigger part of his character now too. Black Lightning over time has become increasingly powerful. Not just the output of his power, but his ability to control and manipulate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In a way that I don't think there's evidence that Shazam has.
Oh, really?
Shazam can shoot lightning or call lightning, but Black Lightning can like manipulate electricity. Like, I think Black Lightning is the sort of character that could have the power to, send information like through electricity, like through like the grid and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like he could do that stuff. He could be precise. He could like restart someone's heart and things like that. Like Shazam is, I think, not a blunt instrument, but a little less surgical, I would say, in his use of electricity. And I also don't think he has the full control over. I think he can shoot lightning, but I don't know that he could like shoot lightning, now make it go over there, now make it go over there, now do this.
He utilizes lightning. He wasn't born into it.
Molded by it.
Yeah.
I think Black Lightning can actually like control
It's his one thing. I think that it makes sense, right?
So I would say I'm probably going to give Black Lightning the power as well. Like, I think he's probably more powerful just in the electricity realm than Shazam is. But even if he wasn't, I think he could if we're talking about a fight with Superman, it's the difference between bringing a baseball bat and bringing like a sword. Like I think Black Lightning's is more precise. It's more refined. There's a technique to it. It's not just swinging and hitting. And I think that's sort of how I would see that. I think he could be more of a threat to Superman, not just on the power level, but also because he's more adept.
But I mean, even though it's not magic based, because I thought that was the really real reason.
Superman has a vulnerability to magic, yes, but he's still also just like a being. Like, his brain still works on electrical impulses.
Fair.
He can Superman can like take electrocution, but like Black Lightning again can control electricity.
Yeah.
He can, I think, do damage to Superman if he wanted to.
Interesting.
Well,
now I just want to see that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next question, which comes from We've Only Just Done, who asks, what is your favorite Black Lightning moment in comics? Jefferson.
Ooh. That's tough. I think I talked about it when we did our Final Crisis episode. I like the stuff between him and Tattooed Man in Final Crisis.
I loved that. That was great.
I like the idea that he's maybe the person that introduces to Tattooed Man the concept of doing something bigger than yourself, of being heroic, of seeing yourself as someone heroic, sort of introduces that idea to him. And then when Black Lightning falls to the Justifiers, Tattooed Man is like, well, I got to live up to it, right? Like I got to do this thing. I think that's a cool moment. There's a moment in like an early comic. I think it's Black Lightning, like number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So like the second time he's ever shown up, where he's beating up all these thugs and stuff like that. And he's kind of being consumed by his own sort of rage and vengeance a little bit. And there's a panel at the end where he's sort of standing in like a spotlight, and he says like, I've become an instrument of revenge or an instrument of hate or something. And then he says like, God help me or something like that. He's just kind of like,
oh, interesting.
Because he's this very thoughtful guy who wants to do good and wants to save lives. And him doing that in his civilian persona got a student killed. And he's wearing that. He's taking it out on all of these thugs and that, but he also he knows in his heart he has to own that that's a consequence of his actions.
Yeah.
And so there's something like, it's a kind of reflection that you don't always see in Batman. Weirdly, that series does a lot of parallels between him and Batman, even though Batman doesn't show up until later.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comparisons, a lot of parallels, but the one that kind of stands out is that he recognizes that he could very easily become the monster, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like that.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
It's a good moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, next question comes from Matthew Poulter, referring to an image, says, do you think the subtext of this moment was deliberate?
So this image, it's
funny.
Like a 4-panel thing. It's from the 3rd season of Young Justice.
Yeah.
And he's fighting Livewire, who is another electric character. A character who's basically living electricity. And they're fighting, and he kind of pins her with her arm behind her back. And she says, like, go ahead, absorbing lightning is my thing. And he says, you've never had black lightning. And then the last panel is her screaming and her eyes rolling back.
Yeah.
So what's happening in the scene is he knocks her out. His power is too much for her. I can't imagine that a room full of adults and mostly men wrote this scene without at all being like, is this kind of sexual?
And they're like, well, kids won't get it.
They must, on some level, someone must have at one point done it. Even if they thought, like, I don't think kids will see it that way. It's fun. Even if someone brought it up, like, is this a problem? And then they were like, I don't think kids will see it this way. They put it like, someone must have seen it that way, right? Like,
100%.
There's no way they didn't. The question becomes, like, is it how much like benefit of the doubt are you willing to give?
I mean, that's like we all need.
You never had black lightning, and I mean that's his name, and on the show his lightning is black. But it's like we never talk about like oh, black lightning, it is a different temperature. The way we talk about like colors of suns or things like that. Like it's never a thing that comes up. It feels exploitative.
Well, it's like that. It's kind of like that campaign here a few years ago, the We All Need the D.
For the vitamin D intake thing?
Yes. The government up here, I mean, it was all over. It was actually all over like the news in the world. It was like a big...
I think Jimmy Kimmel covered it.
It's a very funny like late night thing. But yeah, there was an ad campaign here that literally just said, we all need the D.
And it was like, how do you get your D?
Yeah.
Or like, it was all these billboards of like smiling people and said like, how do you get your D?
I mean, there's no way they didn't know.
Someone knew, and then a bunch of people didn't clue in.
Because otherwise, it doesn't really mean anything. Like, it's not fun.
Well, that's
or funny.
just it. It doesn't make sense unless it's a double entendre.
Yes.
And I think that's also true of this scene.
Exactly.
So they must have known what that subtext was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, next question comes from Ryan Putney.
Puts me in, I puts me out, I puts me in, I shake it all about.
So one of my favorite things to do for my when I have to do like presentations, especially like slideshow or like PowerPoint presentations for work, is I love putting these like I put a lot of like title slides in throughout the whole thing.
Sure.
That are very like stupid.
Okay.
And there's one today that
I was talking about like redesigning this business's brand. And so I went to the part of the presentation where I literally started talking about like what we would do.
Right.
And my title slide for it was, "This brand is your brand. This brand is mine." and your cousin messaged me and was like, "That's the fucking funniest thing I've ever seen."
That's very on brand for you.
That's all. I do that stuff literally just for me. Often I'll like look at people and it, like nobody has any idea of what I'm talking about.
So it's also like when you do stand up.
Yeah, exactly. It's all for me. There was literally I had a slide in one of them that was, "What's the T on B&Bs?"
Oh my god.
The people that we did.
What's the T? Jesus.
And there was so many like blank
You're so
faces.
cool, Dad.
Well, I also was trying to talk about today. I was trying to write a slide about like looking into like doing an external or an internal review of a business's like consumer reporting and things like that.
Right.
And I put the slide I showed your cousin and then I deleted it because I knew it couldn't stay. But the slide was just "Get up in them guts."
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
I was like, this is too far,
you're
right?
one step away from those like funny porn memes. Like,
that's generally what I'm going for.
yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be like, it would be an image that said sales, and then it would be that image of like, oh my god, it's so big. Like,
I mean, my favorite thing ever is those the where they take the porn images and then replace the dicks with pizzas.
yeah, that's funny too.
That's
I like
that's one of my favorite things. Ryan Putney says, "So I am not familiar with the character other than what you guys have talked about. With that said, what makes him so special, and what exactly are his powers and skill set? Besides shooting lightning, of course."
Right. So what's interesting is that initially he actually didn't have powers. He had like a special, basically a utility belt that Gamby's brother built for him. Gamby's a tailor, but his brother's like
the tech guy.
Interesting. I don't know that you ever see him. He just talks about Paul. He's like, "I'll see if Paul can do
Really?
it." Yeah. So he has this belt that allows him to like send an electric current, like, you know, if he grabs onto a railing or something, it'll do that. It also gives him like a electromagnetic force field, so he can't be shot.
Oh.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And in the story, he keeps saying like, "I keep hitting like harder and harder." And Gamby at one point says like, "Great, the plan is coming together." And then it never really circles back. But what you learn is like, his body is like absorbing the ability.
Oh.
This would later be retconned as probably like a metagene. But at the time that wasn't a thing.
No.
His body was absorbing the thing because at one point in the initial 8-issue kind of arc, Gamby sacrifices himself to save Black Lightning. Black Lightning doesn't have his force field belt. Tobias Whale, his archenemy, has it. And Black Lightning, in his rage that Gamby has died this way, shoots lightning. And he goes like, "Oh, that's new." And he has the ability in him. And then later, during like Invasion or something with the gene bomb, I think it even further solidified that the powers were then in him. But initially, they weren't. So what was he bringing to the table if he didn't have the powers? He's an Olympic decathlete. Not only did he go to the Olympics, he won gold.
Oh.
Jefferson Pierce, gold medal Olympian decathlete. He's a teacher. He's an educator. He teaches at Garfield High School.
Yeah.
Later becomes a principal, and much later becomes like Secretary of Education for President Luthor. So he's highly intelligent, highly agile, very strong physically. He's got great endurance. The belt, and therefore like the electrokinesis power that he eventually gets, increases his strength and durability. It operates a little bit like a force field. He can obviously shoot and manipulate and control electricity and lightning. He can absorb electricity. That's part of his powers. But really, like, if you're anyone can have any one power. If you're talking about what makes them special, I would say it's the sort of person that has the dedication and the focus to be like a top level athlete. That's someone with a lot of willpower, a sense of drive and determination and that sort of thing. That he's an educator, that he wants to give back, that he's selfless, that he wants to help his community. He is community minded. He's all of those things. That's the thing that makes Jefferson Pierce special. And then also he's this like crazy powerful electrokinetic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what makes him special is that he's a good dad.
I mean, more in the show and later in the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What makes him special is really the friends he made along the way.
Yeah. Maybe the Black Lightning was inside us all along.
Oh. I mean, I've never had Black Lightning before.
Good Lord.
All right. Let's move on from Facebook to Twitter.
That's Twitter. Hey, I didn't do the Facebook one. We just went right to Roland Sebas.
Huh. I mean, I guess we could just not do those anymore.
They're the drops, Jefferson. They're important.
Well, I mean, with a reaction like that, how could I not? Did you break the...
I just put some weight on it.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not that heavy.
I'll be honest. I'm not going to say what it is. Technically, they aren't rated for you.
Are you fucking kidding me? Then what's the point of that? I'll sit in this office chair over
Though,
here.
to be fair, none of the chairs are rated for you, actually. That one isn't either.
All right. Sitting in this fucking chair because we can't have nice things.
That one's technically
I am a human size.
That one's technically not rated for you either.
I won't feel as bad if I break this one.
Oh, okay. I mean, did you already break that one?
I didn't break it. I just put my arm down. Look.
But it didn't break?
No.
Okay. Well, then you're fine. Go sit back on it. Just sounded like you put your elbow through it, so I wasn't sure.
Maybe they got to make chairs better. You ever think of that?
Okay, you pay for new chairs.
You were the one that got them.
I know, I was just concerned looking at the other one. Figured we need to replace it.
It'd be funny if the chair didn't break, but I just went straight through the floor.
Yeah. But
we never even thought to check the rating on the house.
The conversation it's not that you're just a big guy. You're just large in like stature, and weight comes with that.
It's called the square cube law. I am governed by the same laws of physics as you.
Yeah, it's gravity's fault.
Yeah, what's the next fucking question?
Comes from our favorite spacey, sexy texter.
Cosmic DM.
Yeah, that's right, Cosmic DM. That's right. Pew pew in space. Cosmic. Click, 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 click. So those are texts.
That was good.
Yeah. Who asks, doesn't Black Lightning work in Metropolis? How can there be that much crime in the city and not have Superman's attention?
So, yes, in the original comics, he's from a part of Metropolis called the Suicide Slum, which I assume was not the official name of that part of town.
Yeah.
But it was this part of town sort of riddled with crime. It's obviously under the thumb of the 100, which is an organized crime syndicate. Tobias Whale runs the Metropolis chapter. There's drug problems and homelessness and crime and all these kind of things. Heroin is being imported into Metropolis through Suicide Slum and stuff like that. And yeah, you say like, man, Superman must be busy fighting robots or something to not notice these things are happening in his city. And then you go back and you read the original run, the original first series of Black Lightning. And within 4 issues, Clark Kent not only is aware that there is crime He knows who Tobias Whale is. He knows who the 100 are, and he knows who Black Lightning is. And he shows up as Superman, kind of to fight him. And then when that's done, the way the book does it is Black Lightning at one point says to Superman, they see you coming and they skitter into the gutters and wait for it to be over, and then they come back out and start over again. Said, this is a problem you big, colorful cape and costume types can't fix. I need to fight it where it's happening, in the gutters, in the darkness, in the streets. And that's the book's rationale for why Superman doesn't go deal with that stuff anymore. It doesn't really address why he had never tried before. But it does sort of set up the sort of like, and I will deal with this, Superman, you go deal with that. So once they have that, then you can kind of move forward from that and be like, okay, fine. But before that, it's not really, you kind of don't know why Superman hadn't done it, other than maybe he had tried, and like Black Lightning said, these organizations are just adaptable and would just sort of go into hiding, scatter, and then reform again. Black Lightning is no longer in Metropolis, though.
They moved all of them to a different town, I think.
Separate but equal
town.
Jesus Christ. No, so on the show, it's a town called Freeland. In the comics, he was in LA for a bit, but now his base is basically Cleveland. That's where Black Lightning is now, is Cleveland, Ohio.
I mean, it rocks,
So that's where he's based. He's no longer based out of Metropolis.
Interesting.
So then once you take him and put him in a different city, then it's like, okay, well, now this is Black Lightning City in the way that Star City is Green Arrows or Central is Berries or whatever. So once you take him there, then you don't have to deal with that Superman thing anymore. Maybe that's why they did it.
I mean,
or maybe just to give him his own space, because we see lots of Metropolis and stuff like that. But so that's the way it currently is. But
it's interesting. Freeland's really not the like. I mean, it's also not as big of a character, but it doesn't really have the cachet that like a lot of those other cities have gotten.
Because Freeland only exists in that show.
Oh, really? There wasn't.
That's not from the comics.
Oh, it's the comics is still Metropolis?
No, the comics is Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah, Freeland in the show, I think, was made up for the show.
Weird.
They don't even set the show in Cleveland.
I mean,
and Freeland really feels like a small city. It feels like there's like 100,000 people there. Like, it doesn't feel like Metropolis, like a New York, a Chicago or anything like that. Like, it feels like, I mean, I actually don't know how big Cleveland is, but it feels like Cleveland would be too big for what the Black Lightning show feels like. Black Lightning to me feels like a city like where I grew up.
For me, it's
like 130,000 people, big enough to count as a city, but small enough to feel kind of small town, like a connected community.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like parts of Michigan, like Livonia or something like that.
Sure, yeah. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, next question comes from Chad Bokelman, Bokel, who asks, I think DC has proven over the years that sometimes the right hero doesn't always have to fight, has the right villain. What 3 villains in the DCU should be part of a Black Lightning Rogues gallery?
So let's start with just talking about what are some Black Lightning villains.
Yes.
So some that you will have seen on the show.
Albino dude.
Tobias Whale. Heavily modeled on Kingpin.
Yeah.
But less human looking. Like, Tobias Whale has kind of like he almost looks like a whale stood upright, like, or a dolphin or shark stood upright. Kind of has like a triangle head.
Oh.
Like stuff like that. But he's got that sort of, he's big and strong and durable. That sort of amorphous, like, does Kingpin have superpowers kind of thing going on. Tobias Whale is 100% in that category. He's a organized crime boss. He's part of the 100. Really nasty dude. Yes, an albino. There is Painkiller, who we do get a version of Painkiller on the show.
Yeah.
That's who...
they're making its own show.
Yeah, that's right. There's supposed to be a spinoff. Oh, right, because the other news is that Black Lightning will end after season 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, Painkiller, is like barely in the comics. Like I think he dies after like 4 or 5 issues, but he has the ability to basically numb or induce numbness to pain. And
was that
sort of like a toxic?
Was that the boyfriend of the?
Jaleel? Yeah, in the comics, I don't think the character has a real name, but you get a character called Cyanide, who's also sort of like a toxins expert. Couple of sort of like chemical kind of toxin
interesting
characters. You get the cyclotronic man shows up for a little bit. Who's basically like a living cyclotron. He has some sort of like abilities.
Like
to...
he's really into like cycling.
Yeah,
like
he's a cyclotron.
Like he's like a.
He's those bikes from Tron.
Some might even call him like a pedal file.
I mean, I guess they could call him that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get
as they chased him out of town.
Black Lightning has some what you could consider to be like shared rogues. You know how Martian Manhunter is a big rivalry with Despero, but it started because Despero fought the Justice League. Nice. Despero. It started because he was fighting with the Justice League, right?
Yeah.
Black Lightning because he fought with the Outsiders. You could say that a character like Baron Bedlam or something like that would be like a Black Lightning adversary, but that's someone they fought as outsiders when they were like going to Markovia and doing that kind of stuff. So he's got some of that too, but really Black Lightning doesn't have like a huge, extensive personal rogues gallery. So who are 3 characters that we think would be good complement to his powers or his abilities or his temperament? Who do we think we would add to the Black Lightning rogues gallery?
1, the Joker. 2, the Joker. 3, the Joker. 3 Jokers. I mean, we have publishers. Where are you? I've got something for you.
Jeff Johns, we have an idea that can come out in 4 years.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm getting snarky.
An idea that I don't really think that they've really well explored is like gentrification. Like it would be interesting to have somebody like Lex-ish.
Right.
Because, like, I guess, like, Tobias is that, but not really.
Like a penguin?
Yeah.
Someone kind of coming, maybe not quite full billionaire. Someone that might set their sights on Cleveland.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, especially because, I mean, I think that there's so much of a conversation about, like, race and things like that in the show, but never really from that sort of perspective. It would be interesting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's interesting too. I guess, you'd have to find the way to separate that from Tobias Whale, right?
Yeah.
Where Tobias Whale kind of still has this sort of seedy underboss thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
what you could do.
Penguin can fit in that too. So maybe we're thinking of some other character.
It needs to be sort of like maybe like a Jeff Bezos type guy who's coming into like, he's going to fix Friedland by like bringing in this huge tech company.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it is a Lex then or something, right? Yeah, interesting. And I mean, Lex and Jefferson, like I said, have a little bit of history because Jefferson Pierce was his Secretary of Education when he was president.
Yeah.
Which a lot of heroes were like, what are you doing? And he was like, I can keep an eye on him. Like,
yeah.
So, I mean, it would be interesting to see Lex go in and be like, do you know what? I actually admire your work. And you're very self-made in that. I respect that, but money fixes.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you learn that it's not doing good in the community the way it should or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lex was a good one. I mean, we're never going to move him from Superman's rogues, but he would be interesting to see Black Lightning face off again.
For sure.
I'm going to say...
Captain Cold would be an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, you can riff on anyone that sort of can mess with his conductivity.
Yeah, exactly.
I think a Dr. Polaris also works the same way.
Yeah.
So where, electromagnetism is one thing, but you get one character that comes at it from the magnetism side and one character that comes at it from the electricity side. I think there's something interesting where if they're not canceling their powers out, they are maybe making them uncontrollable or unreliable or something like that. Could be interesting for each of them. I think the same would be true of a character that either uses ice or water or something like that, like a Captain Cold.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say Lex, Captain Cold, Dr. Polaris.
Boom.
Let's add those to Black Lightning.
Those are great ones.
All right, let's move on to the next question. What's that sound? It's a fucking donkey. You can read it. It's not fun for me anymore.
Good.
Ruined it.
Good.
Me hung. Fucking morning.
Yeah.
Don't.
Come on, buddy.
No.
One more time?
No.
I'll do the yaw.
Okay.
What do you say? All right, let's do it. Let's do this pro.
What's that sound? Oh my god, it's morning! It must be, because the next question comes from Braydon. Yeah. Who asks, do you think Black Lightning should lead the Outsiders? And if so, who should be on the roster?
So the Outsiders is a team that Batman formed when he was fed up with the Justice League. He was like, I don't like how this is going. Or it's like, you're all too clean cut. And I'm not making enough of the decisions. So Batman forms this other team called the Outsiders. There's a very famous cover where Batman says, I quit the Justice League. This is my new team.
Of course.
The Outsiders consist
They'll do things that Justice League never will.
Yeah, you've never had Black Lightning before. So it included Black Lightning, it included Katana, it included Geoforce, it included Metamorpho, it included Halo. The roster has revolved and rotated a bit over time, but those were kind of the original, the core members of the Outsiders, the ones that I think you mostly come back to. Yes, I mean, in general, I do think Black Lightning should lead the Outsiders because it's more interesting than having Batman do almost anything. Batman has enough teams in that. I do like the idea of Batman setting something up.
Yeah.
But then he's got to be more hands off.
Yeah.
I got Justice League obligations.
He executive produces the Outsiders.
I think that's what I want. Executive producer Batman.
Yeah.
Showrunner Black Lightning.
Exactly.
I think that's what I want.
Yeah. Written by Alfred.
Oh my god. Why do you keep sending the team down at dark alleys?
Oh, I just think that maybe it could be a little bit better if we just go down there, just a pop, and then everything will be better.
Yeah, Mr. Pierce, if you could just go down the alley, a little zap, and
oh, I don't think that's a good idea, Jefferson. I don't think I fucking asked you a question, did I?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a butler. I'm pretty good at making clothes, but you're a tailor, so now you're gonna come in, Mr. Gamby. Okay.
Don't make me raise my voice.
Oh my god. Is Gamby like... Oh no. Gamby just snaps Alfred's neck
God.
and then just wears his face and becomes Batman's new butler.
Of course I'm from England.
It's a cucumber sandwich, Bruce.
Pip.
So funny. Yeah, I do think that the Outsiders make more sense as something Black Lightning led. I think something that the more recent version of that book, the Batman and the Outsiders book, did well was Black Lightning saying, like, I acknowledge that you put this team together and that it's serving a purpose, but I don't like the way you work, and I won't be you. And Batman saying, like, that's fine. I mean, Batman says that's fine a lot, and then kind of isn't okay with it.
Yeah.
But the idea of Black Lightning,
sounds like my ex-girlfriend,
just fully taking it over, be like, listen, we formed a bond while you were off doing other stuff. You put us together, but we are the team. We're not doing things your way. If they're going to follow my lead, they're going to do it my way. And I do think that's a thing that book did. And I think it's the thing that makes sense. I really think any version of the Outsiders moving forward should be Black Lightning's team.
Yeah.
You can still keep the origin as having Batman involved, or Batman could be their benefactor or whatever. Like, you could throw him in because it always helps to put Batman in a book to boost the monthly sales or something. That's fine. But I do think it's Black Lightning's team. I think it should be. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's a good evolution for his character, is to be put in a position of leadership that he maybe doesn't feel he deserves, or maybe he doesn't feel he wants. He's almost got like the Aquaman thing of like, this is the step, right? Like, this is what you need to do to fully live up to your superhero legacy. And he goes like, I don't know if I'm ready for it. What about, like, I'm still want to be a teacher. I still want to help that way. And it's like, it's hard to balance those things. Mm-hmm. I think that's interesting stuff for the character.
Well, and who should be on the list? Who should be on the roster?
Oh, right. I think you always need Katana in there. I really like their relationship. I really liked how Brian Hill did their relationship in the most recent series. But I think you always need Katana in there. Someone who comes from more of that kind of warrior thing, but will like follow an order.
Yeah.
Not like a Batman who will just go rogue and start a new team again.
Yeah.
If it were up to me, I'd keep Metamorpho in there because I like that character. But Metamorpho had a cool thing going with the Terrifics, so let's say we can't use them. I think it'd be good to have another sort of heavy hitter character. I'm going to say Firestorm. A character who traditionally, at least part of Firestorm, is young. Someone that could use the tutelage and mentorship of a character like Jefferson Pierce.
Yeah, yeah.
So whether we're talking the Ronnie Raymond kind of jock, kind of blockheady version, or whether we're talking the Jason Rush, very intelligent black youth version, I think that's a dynamic that works. So Katana, Firestorm. Let's put in do you have one you would throw in there?
Yeah, I think that you could do somebody that I feel like you're like, what's the thing that makes the Outsiders like unique? Like, what is their sort of thing?
They're not as public as the Justice League. You know, if the Justice League crosses an international border, it's not that they are American, because they're not.
Yeah.
But eyes are on them. People notice. They are very public. Almost half of their job is just being seen heroing. The Outsiders can operate not necessarily full black ops.
Yeah.
They're not secret, but they can just kind of do the actual work. It might be a little grittier, grimier. Things you wouldn't want to see the Justice League doing.
Yeah, because I think like what might be interesting is if you have like one of those like reformed villain type situations where like they join the team. I always love when that kind of thing happens.
I mean, Clayface kind of did that for a bit when Batman had like the Bat Family team in Detective Comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Those kind of things are
like
fun.
A Deathstroke or something like that.
Oh, you think Deathstroke would take orders though?
Well, I mean, potentially, especially if it's like he wants to reconnect with Rose, and so it's like, well, she's on a team. I can show that I can be on a team,
right? I mean, I do think it would be interesting also just to have Ravager on the team.
Yeah.
That could be cool too.
Yeah.
Maybe very similar to Katana in some ways, at least in skill sets.
Yeah, that was my only thing, yeah.
But could be cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that, either of them, yeah.
I think you need to have some grit, like somebody who's a bit reformed, a bit like rougher on the edges.
Right. I think it would be good to have someone that would maybe challenge the tactician side a little. So if you got a character that was supposed to be like Calculator or Clock King or something like that, you could make them the reformed villain thing.
Yes.
But they've kind of got this thing where it's like Jefferson needs them because they're important, but they also think that maybe they're kind of more in charge. Kind of, yeah.
I always like that.
I like that, yeah. Totally.
All right, let's leave Twitter and head on over to Instagram.
Now we're going to Instagram, take some questions and answer them.
First question comes from XLH90.
Oh, Ixel.
Who asks on this episode of all of them.
What is the X?
He don't ask me. I haven't really read much Black Lightning. What good Black Lightning stories would you suggest reading to get to know the character a little better?
Right. I mean, the obvious one is go back and read the first series.
You've been doing that.
I got the whole collection for like $5 on Comixology. I think it might have been a Black Friday sale.
Oh,
but
nice.
It might still be on sale when you're listening to this, so go check that out. It's the original stuff written by Tony Isabella, Trevor Von Eden on art.
Yeah.
It is the original conception of the character.
Yeah.
And according to Tony Isabella, the only conception of the character, because he's kind of a whiny bitch baby. But hope he's not listening.
We'll still have you on the show.
I don't know.
No, I don't really.
For the people that are okay with a character evolving as new creative teams take over, because it is all work for hire, I think there's a lot of good Black Lightning stuff in that sort of like... I mean, the Outsiders stuff is neat.
Yeah.
That's sort of late 80s, I guess? Late 80s? Batman and the Outsiders is cool, but there's good stuff in that sort of Justice League run where like Roy was part of the Justice League and Vixen and Black Canary was in charge and stuff like that. Like there's a good era of Justice League with Black Lightning in it. Black Lightning sort of between Infinite Crisis and Final Crisis is really good. He's got a cool moment in Infinite Crisis where him and Mr. Terrific have to team up to take out Brother Eye. So they're on this satellite. It's a moment that is clearly a retcon, was not part of the original thing, but I kind of like it in a way. Mr. Terrific says, like, do you really need to be called Black Lightning?
Yes.
And Black Lightning says, like, listen, when I started, there weren't very many of us. I wanted people to know who was cleaning up the streets.
That's fair, yeah.
So, like, there's something, I think that era is good for Black Lightning. I think they gave him some props. He's maybe not in everything, but I think there's some cool stuff in there. While I'm thinking about it, the Black Lightning, the name thing, I will say that in the original run, when you first see him, you first meet him as Black Lightning, not as Jefferson Pierce, and he's saying like, "Hey, what you jive turkeys do?" Like,
really?
And at first I was like, "Oh my god,
oh no,"
because it's like from the 70s, and I was like, "Oh Jesus." And then there's a panel where he's like, I purposely talk like this so they don't know that I'm like clean cut educator.
Well,
Jefferson
that was like,
Pierce.
it's like what they tried to sort of do that on the show too.
And there's, I think,
that's what
and I think there's a piece of that is actually very, from my non-understanding, I think is probably very true to a lot of people's experience of like code switching.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's something in there, but it was just the idea of like a white guy wrote this, and the first time you see this character, it's like,
yeah, the most racist
full black,
version.
it's full blaxploitation.
Yeah.
And I was like, Tony Isabella is not racist, but it's also like, no matter how well intentioned, he was still a white guy writing a black character. It's like,
did you need to be the one to do that? Yeah.
Well, I mean, no one else was doing it. It's good that he did, but I think that's also why I find him kind of like a whiny baby, is when someone like Brian Edward Hill takes over, a black man writing Batman and the Outsiders, and then he goes, "This isn't Black Lightning." It's like, I think we're kind of beyond you deciding what Black Lightning is now. Like, it's been 30 years, 40 years, you know?
Yeah.
I think we're past that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, maybe you are not the ones to speak about the black experience anymore.
It's like, you know what I mean? Like, fine, maybe it's not how you saw the character, but the character's past you now.
Yeah.
You gotta just deal with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, next question come from Robbie's Just This Guy. It's a weird command to give somebody. Rob B's Just This Guy.
He's like, "Oh, are we going to go as a team?" It's like, "No, just this guy."
Rob B's.
Rob B's. Just this guy.
Yeah.
I need you to prove your loyalty.
Yeah, we're
get me all the honey.
We're sticking up this
Rob B's. Just this guy.
We're sticking up this farm, and you need to rob bees. The rest of us are going for the cow cash.
The cow.
Yeah, you know how they always say that phrase, cash cow? I assume.
That made me think of that 30 Rock joke where he's like, cash cow, our failed cash cab.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
nice.
The beast will startle.
So Rob B's Just This Guy asks, does Black Lightning absorb lightning? If he fights Black Adam, does he get supercharged?
So he can absorb lightning. That's part of the package deal of his electrokinesis. The question, I guess, ties back to our first question, which is like, how much power? You know,
can one man have that much power?
Yeah. The clock ticks. I just count the hours.
There it is. I was waiting.
Does Black Adam wield too much power?
Yeah.
To reasonably control. You know, we see that in some things with Captain Atom. He can't absorb all the radiation. There's too much radiation, even for this radiation being.
Yeah.
You know? Because it's magical and it has slightly different properties and there are different things in it. I don't think it's an affront to Black Lightning to maybe set it up where he gets overwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
But I do think Black Lightning is skilled enough with his own powers, and he is powerful enough in general, that he could kind of do the thing they do in the Avengers with Thor and the Iron Man suit.
Oh, yeah.
Where you supercharge him up. And maybe he can't keep that power for a long time, but he can shoot it back at Black Adam.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that's a totally reasonable superhero fight setup, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe the magic does something to him too. You know, like exposure to magic is always like you've thrown the window wide open for
it's
a
writer. Crapshoot.
You could do
DC,
anything.
Yeah.
Like they could just be like, and it's fine, or they could be like,
now he's got like magic electricity
into the Electroverse, or like,
oh my god. Yeah, I like he comes from the white, which is electricity.
He comes from the white?
Yeah, it's
Black Lightning?
Yeah, it's the electricity realm.
Come on, man.
The electric force.
Do better.
I can't.
Oh no.
This is beyond what I should be able to do. It doesn't get any better.
No, it doesn't.
The next question comes from the real Josh Gill.
Gill.
Who has a fake Josh Gill now, so.
Yeah, I guess we actually need that distinction.
Yeah, this is the official Josh Gill.
The real Josh Gill?
Yeah.
Original raised Josh Gill?
Yeah. Josh Gill's going to need to get a blue check mark. Josh asks, how much Black Lightning's character is inspired by Jesse Owens?
Right, so I couldn't find... I mean, maybe there's an interview out there somewhere. I couldn't find anything specific where, like, Tony Isabella was saying, like, he's based on Jesse Owens.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he must be in some respect, even just subconsciously. So Jesse Owens famously was a black athlete that won 4 gold medals at the 1936 Berlin Olympics, which were Hitler's Olympics, where he wanted to prove German superiority and see, look how great our country is, and I'm doing things right. And Jesse Owens showed up, and he won the 100-meter, 200-meter, 400-meter relay, and he won the long jump.
Funny.
Just crushed it.
That rules.
Hitler refused to shake his hand, all that kind of stuff. But the tragedy of Jesse Owens is that he came back to America, and Roosevelt also did not meet him.
Ugh.
Wouldn't do that. You know, he was all this glory for America and all this, like, fuck you to Germany. Roosevelt wouldn't meet him. He ended up, like, bankrupt and stuff. Like, he was like working at a car wash and that until like later in his life, when people were like, hey, remember Jesse Owens? Should we make him like he's one of those, like, what do you call them, the goodwill ambassadors? That sort of UN kind of thing. So that was like later in his life, but like he got like, I think he's the first black athlete to get a sports sponsorship. I think it was like the president of Adidas or something was
wow.
Yes. And then like within like 6 months or something like that, it's like all of it had dried up.
Jeez.
We were done with Jesse Owens.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's really sad. But the idea of like an inspirational black character, an athlete at the top of his game, stuff like that. I mean, you can certainly transpose that onto Jefferson Pierce. I don't know if he's specifically meant to riff on Jesse Owens.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jesse Owens, as far as I know, doesn't have any sort of history as an educator or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there's certainly parallels, right? And being a pioneering black hero. Black Lightning is the first black superhero to headline their own comic book.
Really?
He debuted in Black Lightning #1.
Oh, yeah.
Black Panther, I think, showed up in other comics.
Yeah, fair.
Or something like that. I might have that slightly wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's like the distinction.
Yeah.
I think Black Lightning showed up way earlier, like 11 years earlier or something like that. But he was in other comics. And then it was Black Lightning was the first to have his own, which was that was the big deal there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. The next question comes from, I think, somebody who just broke my chair. Cursed Blah.
Fuck you.
What's wrong? I didn't say it was you.
I am not fat. I'm a big guy. I'm a human size.
Who are you? Who
I
are
am
you talking to?
6'3".
Who are you talking to? Are you talking to me?
Oh, sorry. I forgot we were recording. I thought this was a chicken drumstick in front of me. Are you sure you're not just a dancing, singing hot dog I've been talking to for the last little bit? Jefferson. Fuck you, people who make chairs.
Oh.
I think I'm such a Gabrus of myself.
I know. Kirschblom asked, what did you think about Jefferson's characterization on the latest Batman and the Outsiders book?
So I really liked it. The thing that I was talking about is that, so I'm going to kind of connect this to my complaints about Tony Isabella.
Yeah.
So his stated complaints is that Jefferson is not an errand boy for Batman.
Yeah.
Totally agree. I 100% am on board with that.
Yeah.
But it's so clear that he's not really reading this book.
Yeah.
Because, like, fine, is he on a mission assigned by Batman? Maybe, but, like, the book is about Black Lightning and Batman fighting over how this team works.
Yeah.
How it operates. How do we mentor these young kids, Cassandra Cain and Duke Thomas? How do we stop Ra's al Ghul? We can't do it your way. He tries to do it, his way, and people in Black Lightning's life get implicated.
Mm-hmm.
Ra's al Ghul comes after them. And he's like, no, this is like, I'm not, that's the whole point of the fucking book.
Yeah.
So I actually quite liked it that way in the book. I also liked, there was sort of like a sort of pseudo romance with Katana. Not full on.
Yeah, yeah.
And I kind of preferred it that way. If it was like full, they're in love, I'd be like, yeah.
So
but it was kind of this thing where like, no, it was just like, those, it was, I don't know how to describe it. They are longtime colleagues, trusted allies. They have each other's backs completely, and they also understand each other on a fundamental level.
I don't know. I've never even heard of that.
Without necessarily being fully romantic or sexual or anything.
I didn't even know two people could get close like that.
It can go that way, but doesn't have to. Their relationship is bigger than that.
Yeah.
And there's something kind of fascinating about that. I liked that in that book. Yeah, I liked it in general. I mean, the thing is though, is that like in recent years, there just hasn't been that much Black Lightning. It's tough to compare against other recent things. There was a Tony Isabella written series called Cold Dead Hands that was 6 issues. That was pretty good, but that was mostly just Black Lightning on his own, fighting Tobias Whale. It wasn't like him and a team. He hasn't been on the Justice League in a while. He, like that Outsiders book was the first real like him working with other heroes thing we'd gotten in a long time. So it's hard to compare because you're at a certain point you're comparing eras. I think I still prefer Black Lightning from that Infinite Crisis to Final Crisis sort of span of years. But I think that Brian Hill book was really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice. All right, let's leave Instagram and head on over to Reddit,
where everyone's nice and no one's ever mean.
Question comes from Big Daddy Reaper.
Oh, Big Daddy.
Oh, Big Daddy gonna treat you real nice.
Oh, Big Daddy, kill me.
Oh.
He's Reaper.
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
Kill me, Big Daddy.
Oh, yeah. Say it slower.
Kill me, Big Daddy.
Oh, no, that's worse. No, well, that's not what I like. I mean, if you watched the play or the movie, I think heart disease is really what killed Big Daddy. But
is that Cat on a Hot Tin Roof? Big Daddy?
Oh, Big Daddy. Yeah, that was the true Reaper.
Every once in a while, you surprise me with your theater references or your film references. Cat on a Hot Tin Roof is not one I would have pegged you for.
But I hope I get it.
Yeah,
God,
chorus line.
Yeah, that's the one you do expect from me.
Yeah. Cat on a Hot Tin chorus line.
I really need to come out. I really need to come out.
I really need this, Big Daddy.
Oh, gosh.
Oh,
that's the porn parody.
Yep, sorry.
Also called
Pussy on a Hot Tin Roof.
Got to it first. God damn it.
Big Daddy Reaper goes on to say, being someone who loves the show but hasn't read the books, is Gamby drawn as a block of wood, as this would explain James Remar's portrayal as a character, as a comic accurate representation?
Right. So, so Gamby in the book, in the original series at least, Gamby, he is drawn relatively neutrally.
Oh, really?
You know, he's got white hair. He's a white guy. He's got a white mustache. He says things like, here's your outfit, Jefferson, blah, 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 blah. But for the most part, it's because he's keeping a secret.
Yeah.
They also kind of do this on the show, too.
Yeah.
But he's keeping a secret. The secret is that he is the one that had killed years and years ago. He's responsible for the death of Jefferson's father.
Yeah.
And then he takes in, he basically buys the building where Jefferson and his mom live. He becomes like a surrogate father. He sort of takes care of both of them. He helps pay for Jefferson's schooling and that sort of thing, right? Which the show also kind of does, that he's this father figure for him. But they kind of make him this neutral thing because he's got this past that he's hiding.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a comic book drawn in the 70s, so the detail level is lower than what we'd see in a comic nowadays. That's not a criticism of Trevor Von Eden, who is to this day a great artist. I think the thing that we latched onto in James Remar's performance that has now fully colored the way we see it is his voice.
Yes.
I actually don't think James Remar is not trying to act, or not even trying. I don't think he's not acting. I think James Remar can have very expressive eyes and things like that.
Yes.
But his voice, whatever choice he has made as Gamby on that show, is so monotone that it draws the color out of everything else that he's doing. And it's funny in a way that a still panel of Gamby drawn kind of does the same thing,
but somehow has more personality.
Because it's a comic, there's no actual movement. Until you get to Gamby sacrificing himself to kill Jefferson, or not to kill Jefferson, to save Jefferson from being killed.
Sorry. Oh, okay,
yeah. Jefferson finds out that Gamby's secret, and he goes I got nothing more to say to you, and then Tobias Whale's gonna have him killed. Gamby leaps out in front and takes the bullet, and that's when Jefferson finds out the power's in him because he's got the no kind of thing. That's a cool moment, but even at that, when Gamby jumps in front of the bullet, he's facing away from the panel. It's like you see his back.
You still can't see emotion from his face.
It's funny, it's totally a coincidence, but he's equally unexpressive in the comic.
That's very funny.
Yeah, it is sort of
maybe hilarious. That's how he chose to do that characterization.
They just handed him the comics. He was like, I don't have much to work with here, but I'll do what I can.
Yeah, I'll put his same the effort they put into writing him.
Pretty funny, yeah.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it sort of made me laugh a little bit.
That's really good. Of course, Jefferson.
No.
No. God, I can't show that face though. That's way too much emotion.
James, do you mind turning away from the camera when we do this sacrifice scene? Yeah. We're going to do your big death scene, but I'd like you to try it not looking into the camera.
Yeah. But I'm doing all this great face work.
Oh, yeah. No, we'll get it in pickups.
Yeah, and also, because you're not facing it, we can do the voice after, so you can really just tone it down.
If you could just whisper your words so we can get someone else to ADR, or get you to ADR it later, then that would be great. Thank you.
We're still keeping the version he does right now, right? Oh yeah, absolutely. But we just can't have him go too big. No,
James, I'm going to say to you what I always say to you: go big, and I'll pull you back.
That explains the character so much. That's actually him going big. All right, next question.
I do love James Remar in other things. I just don't.
I liked him in Dexter.
I just don't think he works great in that show. It's just too bad because he's a good actor. He's in lots of stuff.
But that specific role,
it's something about that. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
But it's also tainted my vision of him in Dexter.
Right. Yes.
it's a little bit like I'm like, is this doing the same thing? Like, I don't know if I trust even my opinions anymore.
He's completely unraveled your worldview.
Yeah, I just don't even know what to believe. Last question comes from Dante's Fire.
Ooh.
Caliente.
Ooh, rojo caliente.
Ooh.
Oh, Dante es en fuego.
Mijo, no.
Mijo?
Yeah.
Like your grandchild?
Yeah. Dante's Fire goes on to say, in reference to the show, did they explain why, now that it's one Earth, why the other heroes haven't gone to help out Friedland? Or at least certain reporters maybe checked out the epidemic cover story. I mean, now closing off a city due to the epidemic isn't a big deal, but Freeland was closed off a year ago, months before COVID.
Right, so there was a whole story thing where they, like, the town got cut off.
Yeah.
They sort of said there was an epidemic in the town. The town was sort of cut off. And yes, now Black Lightning is part of the main Arrowverse universe. After the events of Crisis, Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, Black Lightning, they were all merged onto one Earth. But, I mean, this is the question you can ask of any superhero movie, comic, TV show, cartoon, is, especially once they start forming these teams, why would you ever just go back by yourself to your own city?
Yeah.
Why are we not dealing with everything through partnership?
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's the thing, like, how come Batman needs to be beaten within an inch of his life by, like, Amygdala or something like that, when he could just be like, this guy has crazy superpowers, and I'm getting older and can't flip that fast.
Yeah.
Hal, do you mind? Like, I mean, with Batman, they always do it where he's like, he's got this very, like, territorial kind of thing, and everyone kind of respects the Gotham boundaries, right? There was even a thing, I think, briefly, where, like, even the Green Lantern Corps had agreed not to police Gotham.
Really?
So we will police the universe, except for this city. That's Batman's city. We'll stay out.
That's really funny.
You know, Superman is obviously Superman. He can handle Metropolis.
Yeah.
Flash, same sort of deal. But, like, it is kind of silly. But that's also, it's just comics. Like, I don't think I have a good excuse for this other than Flash is dealing with his own shit. Arrow can barely keep fucking Star City going when he was alive, obviously.
Yeah.
He's not alive anymore. And Diggle's gone. He's Green Lantern. You know, Supergirl has sort of bigger global things on her mind, not organized crime in this one little town, you know. As far as the reporters that we know, I mean, Kara's a reporter, but there's a lot of news in National City. She's also Supergirl.
Yeah.
Iris is only just getting her paper off the ground, and also currently she's trapped in a mirror universe. You know,
didn't she get out at the end though?
No, she's still in there.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, she's stuck in there.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a fair point to bring up. And my hope would be, even though the show is ending, my hope would be that we'd see Black Lightning implicated in other things, or other heroes implicated in his show. So maybe even when that show is over, we'll still get to see him show up for a little bit on The Flash, or for a little bit on Legends, or something like that. That's my hope. But ultimately, like in the comics, they have to have their own separate things. You get the odd crossover, but for the most part, everyone's like, Epidemic over there? Doesn't Black Lightning live there? I'm sure he's on it. And they just kind of, that's the suspension of disbelief with those things, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that was the last question.
Oh my God.
So you know what time it is.
Oh, I'm ready.
Ready to play our favorite game.
I think I'm ready. I lost the last 2 weeks.
I know. I'm so happy about it. This next time to play our favorite game. Can you guess the name of the character based on how someone who does not read comic books can describe those characters to us? If you don't know what the rules are, I send a photo
If I don't get this one right, I will break this chair.
Again?
Walked into that one.
Hard not to.
Fuck you. I was actually going to say it's actually pretty hard for me to walk because my knees all fucked up.
Gotta carry so much. Pow, 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 pow.
Yeah, including this show.
Oh. Delete.
No, the episode was so good. It's like a 2-hour episode.
So if you don't know what this is, I send a photo of a DC character to my wife. She does not read comic books, nor does she care for them, and she comes up with clues to describe what she sees.
Right.
We try to figure out what they are. I know what it is. The doctor does not.
Right.
You're ready.
I am as ready as I can be, while also putting more weight into my like feet on the ground so that I'm.
Wow.
Yeah.
The body is willing, but the mind is weak.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you just described every meal I've ever had.
All right. First clue. Where's a punk rock onesie with a cape?
Punk rock onesie with a cape.
Yeah.
Okay. Punk rock onesie with a cape. Ooh, tricky. Punk rock onesie with a cape.
Wrong and strong.
Yeah, I just gotta pick something. Okay. I'm actually just having a hard time picturing people in capes.
Yeah, I know. DC's so not
on this podcast.
Yeah.
All podcasts. Oh my god, Christ. Okay.
Wow. Wait, did I break you?
This is going really poorly for me.
Just a character.
Martian Manhunter.
No.
Yeah.
Next clue. Alternate universe Alvin.
Oh, okay. Alternate universe Alvin. Punk rock onesie with a cape.
Yeah.
So he's an animal?
No.
Okay. So not Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
But an alternate universe where he's not a chipmunk?
Yeah.
So the clue's useless.
No. No.
Okay. Small, maybe.
No.
Or there's 3 of them. A triplicate girl.
No.
Okay. Fuck.
Third clue. Well versed in pyrotechnics.
Okay. Doesn't mean the character actually is, just means they look like it.
That's right.
Got a cape.
Remember, this is a person who does not read comic books, nor do they know what
Yeah,
to
exactly.
say.
Exactly. So, cape.
Yeah.
Punk rock onesie, but let's just say onesie so I don't confuse myself. Something about Alvin and the Chipmunks, but I probably won't crack that one. Something about pyrotechnics. So, colors, something color, Wave Rider?
No.
Okay.
Final clue.
Fuck.
Their favorite movies are Eyes Wide Shut and V for Vendetta.
Okay. Is it Anarchy?
It is!
Okay.
Ba-bow! Wow.
Whew, boy.
I was getting concerned there for a second.
I mean, that last clue is the one that really did it, but, whew, boy. Oh, that's like the Arkham Knight version of Anarchy. Yeah.
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
I see. See, that's the thing that was thrown. Yeah, okay. I understand what you're going for.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
And then it's an anarchy
the big
symbol,
A.
so also the punk rock part.
Sure, right. Okay. I
Yeah.
understand.
Pyrotechnics.
Pyrotechnics just because he's holding a flare. So that was
Yeah.
a complete red
Right,
herring.
then that's what they...
Absolute red herring.
Yep, sometimes it all really depends on what image I give her.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Whoo! I'm back, baby.
Oh no, he's through the floor. It happened. Wow. I did love that. I can't remember who it was, but reached out and were like, I immediately got Midnighter.
Yeah, I know.
Which of you residents got this one right away? I'm very curious to see, did anybody get anarchy?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Let us know through our various social media presences, as well as you can ask us a question for next week's episode.
Yeah, next week we are talking about the Justice Society.
Yeah.
Ooh. The Golden Age super team. The greatest generation.
Oh, no.
Well, until now.
Yeah, easy boomer.
You'll have to cut so much of that silence out because I stopped myself from saying something that I realized was 100% not connected to anything we were talking about.
Oh,
but it was just like such like a natural reflex for me and our conversations.
Oh,
is that I said greatest generation until now, and you said and then I went to pretend to take my dick out. And then I like realized halfway through what I was doing, I was like, that's not anything. What is this? But it felt so natural. It was
no. That really speaks to volumes of our relationship.
These chairs, man.
I know.
Breaking these chairs in.
Oh, literally.
Yeah, we're talking Justice Society for the next episode.
That's right.
We're quickly approaching Darkmas. There's only 2 regular episodes left before Darkmas.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Should we tell them what we're doing?
For Darkmas?
Yeah.
Yeah, we might as well. Yeah. So we've got dietary restrictions and things like that.
Though it may not seem like it.
Well, no, we sure don't make it seem like it, but it means we can't drink.
Yeah, we can't drink.
We were trying to find things that we
like
also,
a different drug every episode.
Well, you can't have spicy food
Yeah,
because that was I was always trying to think of something that felt like it was escalating.
Yeah,
that was the whole point, right?
But I'm not allowed to have nightshades, which include peppers, which means I can't have spicy food.
Can't have any of that. So we were sort of hemming and hawing about what we were going to do, and I think what we landed on is for each episode of Darkmas, we will eat that number of chicken nuggets,
which sounds easy in the beginning and then gets frightening by the end.
By the time we get to the end, we'll have eaten 70 chicken nuggets.
Well, also it's you start out so easy and then it gets insane at the end.
Yeah, so
because it's it's been 30 minutes.
First episode of Darkmas, we each have 1 chicken nugget.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Oh, yeah.
By the end, we'll be eating 12 nuggets while also talking about a book we read and exchanging gifts.
30 minutes, literally it's 20 minutes to eat 10 and then 20 minutes to eat 11
and we have to be talking during this. It's so much harder than a drink because a drink you can just open your gullet and catch up.
Yeah,
you can't do that with this. So
no,
that's Darkmas this year. It's gonna be an absolute train wreck, but it's gonna be fun.
Good God. Yeah. So for these episodes that are coming up, you can reach out to us through our various social media platforms, such as our Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast,
Twitter,
at Dr. DC,
Instagram,
Dr. DC Podcast,
email,
drdcpodcast@gmail.com,
Reddit,
r/Dr_DC.
Of course, the doc phone is always open.
208-917-3238.
We're going to want those calls for Darkmas. So make sure you call 208-917-DCEU.
If you're nasty. If you're nasty, Big Daddy.
Oh, Big Daddy Reaper. It's weird because it's my brother that account comes from.
That's fucked up, man. I think we're done here.
Go to our website,
drdcpodcast.com or .ca.
or joshhub.net.
Yeah, set it up.
That's right. I really need to set it up.
Yeah, set up our Josh aggregator.
Oh my God. Just pulling photos from his Instagram.
It's just an algorithm that combs the internet for Josh content.
Oh no. Yeah, I'm into this.
It's the Josh singularity.
Oh, the Josh-ularity?
Yeah, Josh, are you singularity?
Oh, I wish.
Oh boy.
And you heard it at the beginning of this episode, but we love those 5-star reviews.
Yeah, keep them coming. We're still getting new reviews coming in that are very nice and lovely, so please keep sending those. And yeah, if you're not leaving a review on iTunes or Facebook, send a screenshot to us so that we know that you've done it. We don't get to see them from everywhere necessarily.
And you can tell we're not choosy about where they come from, so literally anywhere.
I mean, just wait until we get to some of the other ones that we've gotten.
I mean, we've also gotten it from like scribbled on a bathroom wall, so
Yeah.
I think we're fine.
Yeah. For a good time, subscribe to Dr.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, do that. And then put our phone number, 208-917-DCEU.
Actually, yes, do that.
Please.
Yeah.
I need that. That'll count as a reveal.
We've also got a Patreon we talked about a little bit. Patreon.com/DrDC. There's bonus episodes. There's videos. You can help vote for what we talk about for an episode each month. There's all sorts of fun stuff up there. Fun bonus stuff when we do big special events like Docmas coming up. There's a $5, a $7, and a $1 level. So even if, money's tight or you're trying to help a lot of podcasts, if you just want to support us, and that money does help us, refurbish equipment and stuff like that, it's a big help.
Yeah, there's no free level. This isn't a charity.
I mean, by definition, the podcast is the free level. Yeah. This isn't a charity. I mean, it's absolutely a charity, but also charities don't have a free level.
Yeah, considering all the good we do, this is definitely a charity.
Charities are only free if you're on the receiving end of the charity. Like, if you're donating to a charity, they don't give a free option.
This is a charity. This is a charity for you. All the good you get out of this.
Yeah. If you want to help us,
we did this out of the kindness of our heart.
If you want to help us be charitable, give us your money.
Yeah. That's how charities work, right?
Patreon.com/DrDC.
Absolutely. And if you want even more content from us, more free content.
Because we're so charitable.
You fucking heathens.
Oh, wow.
Get a job.
Aggressive. Such tough times. So many people have lost their jobs.
Suck it up. Everybody's a first responder. Get out there.
Oh my God.
You can subscribe to our other podcast. That's right. We have a whole other podcast dedicated to the TV show Supernatural. It's a supernatural rewatch podcast called Ghostfacers.
That's right. Wherever you get your podcasts, we're about halfway through the first season at this point. Yeah.
So not much left, right? I could see the finish line.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Yep, that's right. Thing that I keep telling my wife.
And then we can finally rest.
Oh, yeah. It's been a long road.
Always with that. Oh, boy.
Come on, Sammy. It's time to roll.
Don't leave me alone.
You'll always be my baby brother.
Oh, my God. No. Not right now. I can't right now.
All right, that's it for this week.
Adios.
They always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure. They are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.